Millionaire follows little girl who stole from him, but when he sees one thing, he cries. Late winter in New York, the sky was gray, as if reflecting the souls of those who had lost their hearts. Inside a gleaming black luxury SUV, Michael Walker sat with his legs crossed on the Italian leather seat, his cold gaze skimming across the tablet screen in front of him. His Ray-Ban sunglasses couldn't hide the permanent contempt etched into his face, a symbol of New York's real estate tycoons. "We just need one more signature from the board to move forward," said Anna Marie, his blonde assistant, speaking rapidly like gunfire. "The Starlight project will replace the entire Riverside district within 3 months. Eviction notices have already been sent to 56 households. Some refuse to sign, but I've arranged for the city police to intervene." Michael smirked. "Good. That area is the city's festering wound. Filthy. Animals living with rats. It should have been burned down long ago." Anna Marie hesitated. "But, there are children and elderly people among them. If the media..." "The media what?" Michael cut her off, his voice icy. "This is New York, not a charity playground. Those poor people only know how to leech and whine. If they want nice homes, they should get jobs instead of breeding like machines." Anna Marie swallowed hard. Even after nearly 3 years as Michael's assistant, she had never gotten used to his brutal indifference. But the salary was too high for her to protest. The SUV came to a stop at Union Square shopping district. Michael adjusted his suit and stepped out of the car under the mix of admiration and wariness from the crowd. His personal bodyguard, Matthew, a tall, bald man covered in tattoos, silently followed behind. Just as Michael was striding toward the Swiss watch store, he felt someone brush past him, making him jolt. He spun around and saw a small figure darting through the crowd like the wind. "My wallet!" Michael roared, his face suddenly red with rage. "That little mutt took my wallet." Matthew immediately pulled out his radio. "Seal all exits." A little girl, messy hair, brown coat, shorter than my shoulder, running toward the south gate. Michael didn't wait. He took off running into the crowded street, shouting like a madman, "Stop, you piece of trash. I'll crush you." People moved aside, shocked at the sight of a famous millionaire completely losing control. Some pulled out their phones to record. Michael didn't care. All he could see was the small girl weaving between the shops. She ran into the parking garage. Matthew reported. Michael rushed into the underground lot, the air thick with the smell of gas and rust. The girl stopped short when she saw the way ahead blocked. With no exit, she turned to run back only to find Matthew already behind her. "Got her," he said, pulling the girl into the open. Michael approached, eyes blazing. "Who are you? What's your name? Do you even know who you just messed with?" The girl didn't answer. She looked to be about 9, her hair tangled, eyes fierce. She clutched the leather wallet in her hand like it was a final prize. "You think you're Ryan Hood?" Michael growled, then suddenly slapped her hard, snapping her head to the side, blood trickling from her mouth. "Here's your first lesson, you're trash, and trash doesn't touch the belongings of people like me." "Sir, someone's filming," Matthew warned quietly. "I don't care." Michael hissed. "Where's the police? Call them now and have her arrested." An elderly woman approached from a distance, holding a bag of vegetables, her voice trembling. "Please, sir, her name is Sophia. She just wanted money to buy medicine for her brother." Michael turned to her and sneered. "Medicine, huh? Why not get a job? Is stealing the new profession for kids now? The child, she's raising 3 orphan siblings. Their parents died in a fire last year. No one would take them in. They live in the Riverside district. They're starving, cold, sick. I bring them food when I can." Michael paused for a second. Then he snapped again, "Doesn't matter. Poverty is no excuse for breaking the law. If everyone stole because of a sad story, New York would be a city of thieves. Sophia still didn't cry. Even with blood dripping from her mouth and her small hand gripped so tightly it was turning purple, her eyes stared defiantly. "She's a tough one," Matthew muttered. Michael pointed at Sophia. "Put her in the car. Take her to the police." "Wait," Anna Marie said as she stepped out of another car, finally catching up. "Michael. I beg you, think this through. The media is watching. If they find out you arrested and hit a child." "I'll say I'm upholding the law," Michael replied coldly. "The law doesn't make exceptions for trash." The elderly woman spoke again. "If you had a sibling dying because they couldn't get medicine, what would you do?" Michael glanced at her but didn't answer. Sophia looked up at him, her lips trembling but her gaze firm. "I'm not asking for mercy. I just want my brother to live." "A touching story," Michael mocked, then turned and waved his hand. "Let's go. I don't have time for street novels." Sophia was dragged away, her head down, but her hand still clenching the wallet. The crowd stared but didn't intervene. Only a few showed sympathy, and a few held up their phones to record. Inside the car, Michael looked out the window. Sophia was held tightly between the two guards, her face bloody but her eyes dry. If he still had a heart, it didn't stir. "Are you really going to hand her over to the police?" Anna Marie asked softly. "Of course. And tomorrow I want demolition to start on Riverside District. Every second of delay is another second this city remains tainted." Matthew scoffed. "If there's a next life, I hope I'm not born in a slum." Michael didn't reply. He was thinking about his recently reappraised fortune, $230 million, and he had never felt so empty. Sophia was dragged out into the street, where the pale sunlight reflected off her bloodied, mud-streaked face. Matthew held her arm tightly in one hand, the other pushing her head down like a dangerous criminal. Michael stepped closer, his eyes like ice. "Look up," he ordered. "Stop trying to look pitiful. No one's falling for it." Sophia didn't react. Drops of blood from her mouth fell onto the polished stone pavement. More people began to gather. A group of teenagers held up their phones. A man in a suit whispered, "What the hell is going on?" "Millionaire Michael Walker caught a child thief," a woman murmured. "My God, she's just a little girl and they're dragging her like a felon." Michael heard it all, but he didn't care. He turned to Anna Marie, who had just stepped out of the car, his voice sharp, "Did you call the police yet?" "Yes, they're on the way." "But Michael, please. Don't please me. You're an assistant, not a TV drama writer." Suddenly, Sophia struggled, trying to pull her hand away from Matthew. But he was too strong. He gripped her wrist harder until she dropped to her knees, groaning in pain. Michael leaned down, staring into her eyes. "I'm going to teach you a lesson you'll never forget. There's no room in New York for trash like you." An old lottery vendor, small and frail, came running from the corner. "Sir. Please let the child go. She's Sophia, from Riverside District. She has no family, just 3 little siblings. The youngest has a high fever." Michael squinted. "Another one defending a thief?" "No. I just think maybe you don't know the whole story." "The whole story?" Michael laughed bitterly. "I know better than anyone. Kids like her grow up to be thieves, drug addicts, scammers. I'm doing this city a favor." Sophia looked him straight in the eye. Her voice was barely a whisper, "I didn't take anything for myself. I just wanted to buy medicine for my brother." Michael leaned in, close to her face. "I don't care if your brother lives or dies. Understand?" Anna Marie stepped forward and gently placed her hand on Michael's shoulder. "Michael, isn't this too much? Maybe we should just take the wallet back." Michael slapped her hand away. You're getting sentimental, Anna. If you want to resign, just say so. A siren wailed in the distance. A police car pulled up, lights flashing red and blue. 2 officers stepped out, one male, one female. "What's going on here?" the female officer asked, her tone cool and professional. Matthew replied at once, "This girl stole Mr. Michael Walker's wallet. We detained her for you to handle." The male officer knelt down and looked at Sophia. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Sophia," she rasped. "Do you have any parents?" Sophia shook her head. Michael interjected, "She's a vagrant. A potential threat to public order." The female officer turned to Michael, her tone neutral. "Do you want to file a formal complaint, sir?" "Of course. And I want you to make sure she never comes back to this area. We'll take her to the station. After that, she may be transferred to a shelter." Sophia trembled at the sound of that. "I can't go, my siblings, they'll die without me." Michael sneered, "Then let them die." The lottery woman cried out, "Don't you have a heart? They're just children. No one helps them except her." Michael looked back at the woman, utterly unmoved. "I'm not Father Samuel Cole. Everyone has choices. They chose to be parasites." The male officer stepped forward and handcuffed Sophia, careful but firm. The girl didn't resist, but her eyes still burned with fire. Anna Marie whispered to Michael, "The media is arriving. At least try to appear humane." Michael took a breath. "Put her in the car. I want this over before lunch." Sophia was pushed into the police car. The door shut. Michael turned to Anna Marie. "As for the Riverside District, today you send the final warning. If they don't leave within 3 days, bring in the bulldozers." Anna Marie looked at him, something cracking inside her for the first time. "Yes. I'll take care of it." The police car pulled away. Sophia sat inside, hands cuffed, eyes gazing through the window not with fear, but with unbearable pain. Michael climbed back into the SUV and slammed the door. "Matthew, to the office. I have a contract to sign with the Japanese corporation at 3. Matthew nodded, starting the engine. "Do you think today's incident will affect your image?" "My image is power," Michael replied coldly. "And power doesn't need to be humane." The vehicle sped off, leaving behind a wave of whispers, an image of bloodied Sophia spreading on social media, and a corner of New York slowly sinking into silence. The afternoon in New York thickened with conflicting thoughts inside Michael Walker's head. The SUV stopped outside a high-end office building, but Michael didn't get out right away. He sat still, staring through the soundproof glass, as if trying to dispel some strange emotion rising from deep within. "You okay, sir?" Anna Marie asked when she noticed him motionless. "Did you see that girl's eyes?" Michael asked, still not looking at her. Anna Marie hesitated. "I did. I think she didn't fear you. She despised you." Michael let out a short, cold laugh. "A filthy child from the sewers, daring to despise me." Matthew chimed in from the front seat, "Want me to take care of her once she's out of the station? You know, teach her another lesson." "No need," Michael snapped. "She'll disappear from my life soon enough." Yet inside him, that fiery gaze clung to him like a burn. Michael suddenly opened the car door. "I'm going alone," he said. "No one follows." "Where are you going?" Anna Marie asked. "For a walk," Michael said flatly, slamming the door before anyone could respond. He walked down Lower East Side, through unfamiliar streets. For some reason, his feet carried him toward the very slum he had always wanted to erase, the Riverside District. The sun was setting. The pale evening light couldn't hide the district's decay. Peeling walls, makeshift rooftops patched with tape and tarp, sewage leaking with foul smells, tangled wires like spiderwebs. Michael covered his nose as he passed an alley, but then he stopped. From inside a crumbling red brick house, he heard coughing. Heavy. Violent. He peered through a cracked window. What he saw inside was something he never expected. Sophia, the same girl from that morning, was leaning over a feverish boy. Her face now pale, hair messier than before, but her eyes still burned with determination. "Drink this." "I got the medicine," Sophia whispered, voice trembling. The boy didn't open his eyes, only stirred slightly. In one corner, another child, about 5 years old, was gnawing on a piece of hard bread. The youngest, a baby just a few months old, lay naked in a cardboard box, curled up from the cold. Michael's throat went dry. He stepped back, ready to leave. But a fragile voice made him freeze. "Sis got the money for medicine," Sophia whispered as she pulled a few dollar bills from Michael's wallet, the one she had hidden under the mattress, untouched. Michael frowned. She hadn't spent any of it on herself. She hadn't run. She kept her word. He pushed the door open. Sophia spun around, shielding her siblings, face full of fear and anger. "What are you doing here?" Michael looked around the room. No electricity. No water. Moldy walls. The floor reeked of dampness. Rain stains marked the leaky roof. "This is your house?" he asked, a shiver in his voice. "It's not a house, but it's where we live," Sophia replied, eyes never leaving him. Michael exhaled. "And the boy? What's wrong with him?" "High fever for 3 days. I don't have money for antibiotics." Sophia backed up, hugging her brother. "If you want your wallet back, just take it." Michael stepped forward, pulled the wallet from his coat, and tossed it on the floor. "I don't want that dirty wallet anymore." Sophia looked at him, surprised. Michael pulled out a few bills and threw them down. "Take it. Buy medicine. But don't ever let me see you again." "I don't want your money," Sophia said, voice trembling. "I didn't ask for anything. But, my brother can't die." Michael turned to leave, but his steps halted at the sight of a child's drawing taped to the wall. A smeared red heart, below it 4 children holding hands. In the corner, a pencil-written note read, "I won't let my siblings die like Mom did." Next to it was an old photo, a young woman holding 4 children, beaming. Her eyes, Michael recognized them instantly, were exactly like Sophia's. He clenched his fists. "That woman, is she your mom?" he asked softly. Sophia nodded. "She died last year. In a house fire." Michael said nothing. A memory he had buried long ago surged back, a rotten room, his sister coughing, eyes begging for help. He had been helpless, unable to save her. He had sworn never to feel weak again. And now? Sophia's eyes had shattered all of his defenses. Michael murmured like a man possessed, "It's not my problem, it's not." Sophia clutched her brother tighter. "You can go. We'll manage." Michael didn't turn back. He stepped out of that broken home, letting the cold wind whip his coat, letting the baby's cough pound against his chest like a hammer. No one called him. No one begged him to stay. But in his mind, a voice from years ago echoed, soft and desperate. "Brother, don't let me die." Michael stumbled away from that ruined house like a sleepwalker. The night wind cut into his face, but the true cold came from within, a dry, twisting pain in his chest, not caused by weather, but by memory. Somewhere in the slums, the sound of children laughing echoed. But it wasn't joyful, it was shrill, the forced laughter of little ones pretending not to be hungry, not to be cold. Michael staggered forward but stopped after only a few steps. He looked back one more time at the house behind him. No door. Just a torn curtain. On the wall, the heart-shaped drawing and the line, "I won't let my siblings die like Mom did." Michael's eyes blurred. He saw another scene, a fragment of memory flashing back uninvited. Brother. I'm cold. Michael had been 12, in a crumbling room just like this one. His little sister, shivering on a damp mat. Their mother had long abandoned them. Their father, drunk, was passed out on the stairs. Michael had nothing. No money. No medicine. No light. No one to call for help. He sat hugging his knees, watching his sister tremble through that winter night. And in the morning, she wasn't breathing. Brother. That voice still lived inside him, clear and piercing. Suddenly, Michael collapsed onto the curb, burying his face in his hands. An old woman selling boiled corn nearby looked at him in surprise. "Sir, are you okay?" she asked, her voice raspy with age. Michael looked up, his eyes red and raw. "Have you ever lost someone, just because you didn't have enough money?" The old woman squinted at him. "I lost my entire family in the fire of '97. Tin roof house. Faulty wiring. Back then I sold vegetables, didn't even make $10 a month." Michael gave a slight nod. "Thank you." He stood up and wandered down the alley, as if searching for more proof to force himself to stop feeling. A different child, a boy about 8, sat next to a pile of trash, clutching a broken toy car. He looked at Michael with hollow eyes, sunk from lack of sleep. Michael stopped. "What's your name?" The boy flinched, about to run. "Wait," Michael said quickly. "I'm not going to hurt you. Just asking your name." The boy hesitated. "I'm Ethan." "You live here?" "Yes, with Sophia and the others." "Is Sophia your sister?" "She's not really my sister, but she's taken care of us since my mom died. Anyone left out on the street, she takes them in." Michael frowned. "How many kids live with her?" "4. But sometimes more. Some got sent to shelters. Some died of pneumonia." Michael clenched his fist. "Does anyone help you?" Ethan shook his head. "No one. Everyone's scared to get involved." Michael turned and walked on. His mind was a storm. His sister, the kids, the memory of the day he had to pull a sheet over his sister's cold face. He had used that pain to become hard. To forget. But Sophia's eyes, that look had smashed the concrete he'd built around his heart. Michael pulled out his phone and dialed. "Anna here. I'm on my way home." "What is it, sir?" "Did you contact the shelter?" "Yes. They said they'll arrange to move the kids from Riverside District to the facility by the weekend." "Cancel it." Anna was silent for a few seconds. "I'm sorry." "I said, cancel it. Don't move them anywhere." "But you said." "I changed my mind." "And call Matthew. Tell him not to touch Sophia or any of the kids around there." "Michael, are you okay?" "No," Michael answered, voice low. "I haven't been okay for a long time." He hung up and hurried toward an old car parked near the alley entrance. As he opened the door, a familiar voice called out behind him. "You're still here? Sophia." Michael turned. The girl stood there, still holding her little brother, eyes wary. I was just passing by," he said. "You said you didn't want to see us again." "I know. Then why are you still here?" Michael didn't answer. He looked at the boy in her arms, his lips cracked, eyes glazed. "You shouldn't be outside. It's freezing." Sophia clutched the boy tighter. "I won't let my brother die. If I have to steal again, I will." Michael sighed. "I understand." "No, you don't. You have money, a house, a car. You've never had to eat moldy bread or sleep in the rain." Michael lowered his head. "I used to be poor. Very poor. And I lost my sister because I couldn't afford medicine." Sophia froze. "Really?" Michael nodded. "That's why I became who I am. I thought if I got rich, I'd never feel pain again. But all I did was become worse. Sophia didn't respond. Her little brother began coughing violently, head tilting back, body convulsing. Michael stepped forward. Let me hold him. No. Please. Sophia hesitated, then handed the boy over. Michael cradled him. The tiny burning body sent a shiver through him. What's his name? He asked. Alexander. Michael gently brushed the sweat-drenched hair from the boy's face. A wave of emotion rose from deep inside, making his voice rough. Alexander. I'm sorry. He held Alexander in his arms, the child's fragile frame like a dimming ember. His breathing was labored, each cough darkening his lips a deeper shade of blue. Sophia walked beside him, her pale face tight with fear, hand constantly stroking Alexander's back as if touching him was the only thread keeping him alive. Do you know any doctors nearby? Sophia asked urgently, nearly begging. Before Michael could answer, his phone rang. Caller ID, Matthew. Don't answer it. Sophia cried. Please, take him to the hospital. Michael pressed the answer button but kept his eyes on the child. Sir, Matthew's voice came, dry and curt, I just got word that the Riverside district is being cleared earlier than scheduled. Orders from the mayor. They want to start tomorrow night. What? Michael growled. Police are being deployed. The kids will be taken either to shelters or holding centers. Michael glanced at Sophia. Her face turned pale as she caught every word. And your bodyguards, James and Thomas, have been sent in to clean up the slums. Should I let them continue? Michael was silent for a few seconds. Sir. Matthew asked again. Proceed with the plan, Michael said blankly, and hung up. What did you say? Sophia demanded. You're still letting them come for us? Michael didn't look at her. It's the process. I can't stop the system. But you are part of the system. You're the one giving the orders. Michael clutched Alexander tightly, eyes wide, as if trying to suppress all emotion. I'm just a cog. No. Sophia shouted. You're the one steering the wheel. If you don't speak up, how many more will end up in the street? Taken? Starved? Dead? Michael said nothing. Just then, a black car screeched to a halt in front of them. Anna Marie stepped out, her face colder than usual. Michael, she said quickly, Matthew told me. What are you doing here? Michael turned to her. You got here just in time. Do any of my employees even see human beings as human anymore? Anna Marie frowned. I don't understand. Sophia stepped forward, blocking her path to Michael. If you won't take us to a doctor, at least don't let them take us away. Anna Marie glanced at Sophia, then turned to Michael. You're going to carry some random street kid in a $7,000 Armani suit? Michael exhaled heavily. I don't know. The police are already in Riverside District. They're starting to round up the kids. And James, your guard, just hit a boy for not leaving. Sophia clenched her fists, face white. It's Ethan, oh no. Michael lowered his head. His hands trembled. Alexander's breathing grew heavier, his head sagging against Michael's shoulder, limp like a dying leaf. I'll call an ambulance, Anna Marie sighed, pulling out her phone. Michael shook his head. No, let me call. Sophia looked at him, eyes blurred with tears. If my brother dies, I'll never forgive you. Michael swallowed hard. I know. His phone rang again. This time, James. The slum's getting crowded. Looks like the locals are resisting. Should I send in a team to force them out? Are there kids there? Plenty. Did you hit any of them? Yeah. Some punk bit my arm. I kicked him. Just a little. Was his name Ethan? Maybe. His face is all swollen. I didn't ask. Michael hung up without a word. Wind howled at the end of the street. Sophia shivered as she saw his eyes redden. "What are you doing?" she asked quietly. "I'm trying to tell right from wrong," Michael replied, "but it seems like I've spent my whole life on the wrong side." Another little girl ran from the alley, her face dirty, clutching a plastic bag with a few pills inside. "Sophia. I got the medicine. But, the police are here, they're taking the younger kids from behind the market." Sophia panicked. "We have to go back now." Michael grabbed Sophia's shoulder. "Take me there. Right now." Anna Marie looked at him like he was a stranger. "You've lost your mind." "Maybe," Michael said, "but at least this time I've lost it for the right reason." The three of them ran back into Riverside District. The sky darkened. In the distance, red and blue police lights flashed and a loudspeaker blared. "All undocumented residents must evacuate this area. This is a city mandate. Resistance will lead to arrest." A group of children huddled together in fear. Ethan lay curled on the ground beneath a black-clad guard, his face bloodied. Sophia screamed, "Ethan!" She rushed over and knelt, wrapping her arms around him. "Wake up. Please wake up." James stood nearby, expression indifferent. "He just passed out. He's not dead." Michael approached, slowly but with sharp intent. "You hit him?" James shrugged. "Following orders. I thought you wanted this place cleared." Michael didn't respond. He bent down and picked up Ethan, handing him to Sophia. "I don't want it cleared anymore. I want to live again." James stared at him. "Michael, you're not you anymore." Michael turned away. "Maybe I never was." Sophia held Ethan in her arms, the boy's face smeared with blood and dirt. Bruises were beginning to appear clearly on his cheeks and neck, and his knees were torn open. She tried to wake him, her voice trembling. "Ethan, don't sleep, open your eyes, please." Michael stood beside her, still holding Alexander, whose breathing grew weaker by the minute. The sirens had stopped. The loudspeakers were silent. An eerie silence blanketed the entire Riverside District. James snapped his fingers at the group of bodyguards behind him. "Keep moving. A few houses left to clear." Michael stared directly at him. "No one's going anywhere." James halted, frowning. "I don't understand." "I said stop. Everyone back to the cars. Now." "But the orders from above." "I am above." Michael barked, his eyes blazing red. "If anyone dares touch another child, I will personally sue each of you for child abuse." The bodyguards froze, glancing at one another. James clenched his jaw but didn't disobey. He yanked his radio and signaled a retreat. Sophia let out a shaky breath, but Alexander's violent coughing made her snap her head around. I have to take him to a hospital," she stammered, eyes glassy. Michael nodded, lifting Alexander higher. "I'll call an ambulance." He pulled out his phone, but the moment he put it to his ear, he realized. No signal. He frowned, stepped aside. Still no signal. Sophia blurted out, "Riverside District always loses signal at night. They say it's weak towers, but I think it's on purpose." Michael muttered, "To stop you from calling for help." Anna Marie approached, pale after witnessing the children being beaten. "Michael, ambulances don't enter this area without a request from the local police. You know that." Michael turned to her. "Call the police. They just left. Said their job's done. They'll be back in the morning." Sophia screamed, "So my brother has to die because no one will listen to me?" No one answered. The sound of children crying began to rise. A 3-year-old boy clung to his sister's skirt, trembling. A little girl sobbed silently, her face purple with cold. Michael turned to Anna Marie. Use your phone. She pulled it out, dialed. After a few seconds, she shook her head. No signal either. Michael shouted, God damn it. This city is a graveyard for the poor. Sophia quickly took off her thin coat and draped it over Alexander. I'll walk to the hospital. Even if it takes me all night. No. Michael blocked her. He'll die on the way. Then what do you want to do? Sophia screamed. Watch him die in your arms. Michael looked at Alexander. The boy's eyes were barely open, his breath weak and shallow. His head dropped onto Michael's shoulder, foam beginning to form at the corners of his mouth. Sophia shouted, Alexander. No. You can't sleep. Michael dropped to his knees on the roadside, not caring that his expensive coat was now soaked in mud. He gently shook the limp body in his arms. An elderly neighbor cracked open her door, peeked, then silently closed it again. No one came out. No one asked. Michael looked around, his voice cracking. Does anyone have medicine? Antibiotics? Fever reducers? Anything? No reply. Every door was a cold, indifferent shadow. Sophia knelt beside him, gripping his coat. Do something. Please. Michael trembled. I have nothing. A girl, maybe 10, with messy blonde hair, whispered, I have warm water, then stepped back, scared she'd be scolded. Michael looked up, panicked. Bring it. She ran off and returned with a bottle. Michael tried pouring drops into Alexander's mouth, but the boy didn't swallow. Sophia sobbed. No, no, don't. Michael held Alexander tighter, his eyes bloodshot. No, please, don't give up. Anna Marie stood nearby, eyes vacant. There's nothing else you can do. Michael shook his head. I refuse. I lost one sibling already. I won't. I won't let it happen again. Sophia placed her hand on her brother's chest, ear pressed close. There's no heartbeat. Michael screamed, no. That can't be. He laid Alexander down and started chest compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sophia watched his trembling hands, then covered her face, wailing. Footsteps approached. A young man with curly hair, in a worn security jacket, ran over. I'm Andrew. I work at the community health station. What's going on? Michael looked up, as if a drowning man had just seen a lifeline. He stopped breathing. Please save him. Andrew knelt, checked the pulse, examined his pupils. A minute passed. He bowed his head silently. It's too late. Sophia screamed a cry that tore through the night. Michael remained on his knees, frozen, staring at the tiny lifeless body in front of him. He reached out and touched Alexander's forehead. Cold. Lifeless. Just like his sister all those years ago. Andrew gently placed a hand on Michael's shoulder. I'm sorry. Sophia crawled to her brother, wrapped herself around his body, head resting on his chest. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Michael slowly stood. His face was colorless. He looked around, shut doors. Faces hidden behind curtains. A world of silence, long since dead. No one saved him, he whispered, like a man possessed. No one, not even me. Anna Marie stepped forward, unable to find any words. Michael slowly pulled out a handkerchief and placed it over Alexander's face. Forgive me. New York lit up. The dazzling city spun on with car horns, flashing signs, and rooftop wine tastings. But in another corner, beyond the darkness and the cracked walls, Alexander had just taken his last breath in Michael Walker's arms. Not a single word was spoken on the way back. Not a sentence. Not even a sigh. The SUV rolled slowly out of Riverside District, carrying Michael, Anna Marie, and a silence heavy as stone. In the back seat, Sophia curled into her knees, her small frame shaking. Ethan lay limp in her arms, face swollen, dried blood at the corner of his mouth. "You're not taking us to the police station anymore?" Sophia asked, her voice dry as ash. Michael didn't respond. His eyes stared blankly out the window, city lights sliding across pupils that reflected only emptiness. Anna Marie spoke gently, like the wind. "Michael. I know you're in shock. But what happened today, you can't ignore it." Michael's voice was hoarse. "Do you know what I did? You tried to save. I watched a child die, Anna. Watched. For the second time in my life." Sophia held Ethan tighter. "We screamed for help, but no one listened. No one. Not even you." Michael pressed his fingers to his temple. "I'm a product of a world that believes money can replace humanity. And I lived that way, exactly that way." Anna Marie glanced at him in the rearview mirror. "Maybe, but it's not too late." The car stopped in front of Michael's luxury apartment complex, a famous tower with Italian marble staircases and bulletproof glass. Michael got out first, gripping the steering wheel tightly without realizing it. Sophia stood at the curb. "I should go back. My siblings are still there. I have to bury Alexander." Michael turned to look at her. Her face was dirty, hair tangled, eyes swollen from crying. But her gaze hadn't changed. It still held that strange, unbearable resilience. "You go in first," he told Anna Marie, then turned to Sophia. "You can stay the night if you want." Sophia shook her head. "No need. You've done enough. You're busy, right? Meetings to attend, contracts to sign, TV appearances." Michael said nothing. He just stood there, silent. Sophia took a step back, holding Ethan's hand. "I know you have a conscience. But conscience means nothing if it doesn't act. My brother won't come back. And tomorrow, another kid will die." Michael lowered his head. No denial. No defense. The girl turned away. Anna Marie hesitated behind him. "Maybe, let them stay tonight." Michael said nothing, but he opened the door. The only gesture in the last 30 minutes that proved he was still human. Sophia and Ethan entered the building, out of place among the polished marble and glittering crystal chandeliers. The old security guard, Eugene, frowned when he saw them. "Mr. Walker, are they guests?" Michael said flatly. "Don't ask." He brought them up to the penthouse, a 3,000 square foot space filled with abstract art and refined Italian furniture. Sophia sat carefully on the edge of the couch, her hand never leaving Ethan. Michael sat on the sofa, loosened his tie, and unbuttoned his shirt collar. "Every night, I drink a glass of red wine," he said, his voice hollow. "But tonight, I can't swallow a drop." Sophia said nothing. Michael continued, "I used to think my success proved I was right. That I'd risen from poverty, from a filthy corner just like Riverside District. I thought I had overcome the past. But the truth is, I buried it. Along with my sister." Silence stretched. Sophia spoke. "What was your sister's name?" Michael stared off into the distance. "Isabel. She died when she was 6. Fever. I couldn't save her either." "And you thought, destroying Riverside District would help you forget?" "I thought if I erased it, I wouldn't have to remember, wouldn't have to feel." Sophia nodded slowly. "I get it. I wanted to die too. After Mom passed. But my siblings were too young. If I died, who'd take care of them?" Michael looked at her. "And now, one of them is gone." Sophia turned away, tears rolling down her cheeks. "I failed." Michael got up and went into the bedroom. A moment later, he returned with a blanket and a pillow. Ethan sleeps here. And you, if you want, you can sleep on the couch. Or leave. I won't force you. Sophia said nothing, only took the blanket and laid it over her brother. Ethan slept heavily, his mouth letting out faint, painful moans. Michael returned to his room and closed the door. In the darkness, he walked into the bathroom and switched on the light. The white glow reflected his face in the mirror, pale, older than his years, sunken eyes, and a smear of dried blood on the cuff of his shirt. He stared straight at himself. For so long that his eyes began to burn. Then suddenly, he swung his fist straight into the mirror. Crash! Shards flew everywhere. One slashed his hand, and blood dripped into the sink. Michael panted, leaning over the basin, whispering through choked sobs. What the hell am I? In the living room, Sophia sat with her chin on her knees, eyes wide open in the dark. She had heard the sound of shattering glass, the small, stifled sobs. She didn't sleep. Neither did Michael, a man who, for the first time in decades, experienced a truly sleepless night. The New York sky brightened after a heavy, silent night. Michael sat motionless in the armchair in his study, still dressed in the same suit he wore the night before. The sunlight spilled through the window, highlighting the broken shards of mirror on the table, the place where he had shattered his perfect facade. His phone rang. He didn't answer. The door opened gently. Sophia peeked in and whispered. Ethan's awake. Michael looked up, his eyes bloodshot. Is he, in pain? He hasn't said anything. But he keeps looking around like he's afraid someone will take him away again. Michael nodded and stood. He followed Sophia out to the living room. Ethan sat curled up on the couch, hugging a pillow with one hand and clinging to the thin blanket with the other. When he saw Michael, the boy shrank back. You don't need to be scared, Michael said softly. I won't let anyone hurt you again. Ethan mumbled. Sophia said, you used to be a bad person. Michael pressed his lips together. That's true. But starting today, I want to be a good one. Sophia looked at him skeptically. You don't become good just by saying it. Michael sat down, his deep-set eyes locked on hers. You're right. That's why I'm not going to say it anymore. I'm going to do it. Sophia crossed her arms. Do what? Michael pulled out his phone and made a call. Anna Marie. Cancel all my meetings today. Every single one. There was a pause on the other end. Should I ask why? You'll find out soon. And call my lawyer. And my private physician. Michael, what are you doing? What I should have done a long time ago. He hung up and turned to Sophia. You said your brother's name is Ethan. What about the little girl? Danielle. She's 6. And the baby, we haven't named her yet. Michael sighed. They won't live in filth anymore. They won't have to be afraid every time someone knocks on the door. No more beatings. No more hunger. Sophia narrowed her eyes. What are you planning? Buy us an apartment? Throw money at us and think that's enough? No, he said firmly. I'm going to adopt you. Sophia froze. What did you say? I've contacted my lawyer. We'll begin emergency guardianship proceedings. For now, I'll take all of you to a safe place with doctors, food, and shelter. But if you say no, I'll understand. Ethan looked up. I don't want to go back to the shelter. Sophia still couldn't believe it. Why are you doing this? Out of guilt? Or conscience? Michael lowered his head. Both. And because I saw, in your eyes, my sister. Sophia turned away, eyes stinging. I don't know what to say. A moment later, the doorbell rang. Michael opened the door. Dr. Clarence, the physician who'd served him since before he was famous, entered carrying a medical bag. "You wanted me to examine?" he asked quietly. Michael pointed to Ethan and Danielle. "Both. And prepare for long-term health monitoring." Dr. Clarence nodded. "I'll need medical records." "There aren't any. They've never been formally examined." Sophia chimed in, "Danielle's had a bad cough for nights. Once, I heard her chest wheezing." Clarence turned to her and smiled gently. "Your sister's lucky to have you." Michael stood behind them, hands clasped tightly behind his back. After more than half an hour of checkups, the doctor nodded to Michael. "Nothing too severe, but they'll need close observation. With proper hygiene and nutrition, they'll recover." Michael exhaled. "Move them to the estate in the suburbs. Full medical staff on standby. I'll visit personally tonight." Sophia still stood motionless, as if unable to believe this was real. She looked at him, for the first time not with suspicion, but with confusion. "Why are you changing so much?" Michael stared out the window, where morning sunlight spilled in. "Because I've hit bottom, and I don't want to stay there anymore." His phone rang. It was Mr. Gregory, his personal lawyer. "Michael, I've looked over the case. For minors. No legal documentation. No guardians. The adoption process will be complicated." "How long will it take?" "Normally a few months. But if we can prove their previous living conditions were unsafe, we might secure temporary custody. The girl, Sophia, can testify. And I'll fund the entire legal effort as long as the kids don't get taken anywhere." Gregory sighed. "I've never heard you this committed. I'll get to work right away." Michael turned to Sophia. "Do you agree? Even if it's temporary, I want you to live like human beings." Sophia bowed her head. After a long silence, she nodded. "For my siblings. I agree." Michael nodded in return, something flickering in his eyes, something that hadn't been there in years: hope. That afternoon, a strange news segment aired on television. Real estate mogul Michael Walker has suddenly halted the entire Starlight project and announced he is adopting 4 street children, causing a stir in New York's financial circles. His spokesperson declined to comment. In the Riverside district, the old lottery vendor watched the report and murmured, "Dear God, finally someone opened their eyes." Inside Mayor Lawrence's office, a glass slammed onto the desk. "What the hell is Michael doing?" he growled. "Those brats were supposed to be cleared out." His aide, Henry, replied cautiously, "Public opinion is shifting in his favor. It seems. Michael's image is being rebuilt." Lawrence gritted his teeth. "He wants to be a hero now. After signing off on everything?" Henry hesitated. "If you'd like, I can revise the property contracts. Remove his name from the project entirely." Lawrence smirked bitterly. "Good. If he wants to play saint, let's show him what it costs to be good." A week passed. New York entered spring, the air warming day by day. But for Michael Walker, the warmth didn't come from the weather, it came from the new atmosphere inside the small suburban villa that had once been his weekend retreat, now transformed into the home of 4 children. Sophia stood on the second-floor balcony, looking out at the garden where Ethan was kicking a ball with Danielle. The newborn, now named Sophie, a name chosen by Michael, slept peacefully in a crib beside the lounge chair. The breeze carried the scent of jasmine. "Still not used to it?" Michael asked, stepping out with a glass of orange juice. Sophia turned, no longer guarded like on the first day. "I keep thinking I'll wake up and be back under a leaking roof." Michael smiled gently. "You deserve a roof." Sophia lowered her eyes. "Are you sure you won't regret this? People are trashing you online." Michael nodded. "I used to be praised for being ruthless. Now I'm hated for having compassion. I'd say that means I'm on the right path." The doorbell rang. A security guard rushed to the gate. Michael gestured. "I'll get it." He opened the door himself. Standing before him was NBC News reporter Megan Thompson, accompanied by a cameraman. "Mr. Walker, may we do a short interview? About the children you've adopted from Riverside District and the suspension of Starlight?" Michael nodded. "I'll speak. But on one condition: no edits. Broadcast it exactly as it is." Megan smiled. "We guarantee that on national air." The camera rolled. Megan began. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing outside the Elwood residence, now the unexpected home of 4 orphans adopted by one of New York's most powerful figures, Michael Walker." Michael looked straight into the camera, his voice unwavering. "I used to see the poor as a burden. I was wrong. No one chooses to be born at the bottom. But we can choose not to step on them." Megan followed up, "Rumor has it the city is removing you from the development contract. Any comment?" Michael smiled faintly. "I lost a deal, yes. But I gained a family." Sophia stepped out into the yard, holding Danielle's hand, both looking at him with pride. Megan lowered her mic and whispered, "That's the best answer I've ever heard." At the same time, inside Mayor Lawrence's office, a press conference was underway. Reporters filled the room. One journalist raised a hand. "Mayor Lawrence, is it true you ordered the forced clearance of Riverside District without proper legal procedures?" Lawrence frowned. "It was for public safety." "Then how do you explain this leaked audio recording of you saying, 'Handle it fast'? The fewer reports, the better." A screen lit up, playing the mayor's voice. "Don't worry about the kids. The cleaner the sweep, the fewer reports we'll need." The room erupted. Lawrence's face turned pale, sweat beading on his forehead. His aide Henry remained silent, head bowed. From the back row, civil rights attorney Dorothy Matthews stepped forward. "We are formally filing a petition to investigate Mayor Lawrence for abuse of power and neglect of minors." Lawrence stammered, "This is all fake news." A journalist shouted, "What about the image of little Alexander dying in Michael Walker's arms? What about the video clip of police shoving Sophia into the back of a squad car?" No one stood with Mayor Lawrence anymore. That evening, the Elwood residence lit up with a small party celebrating Danielle's 7th birthday, the very first time in her life she had cake and candles. Sophia held the knife, her voice choked with emotion. She never knew what a birthday was. I don't think she even knows her real age. Michael stepped forward and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "From now on, there'll be a birthday every year. And every day will be worth remembering." Danielle sniffled. "I wish I could live here forever." Ethan added, "And never get kicked out." Michael smiled, sitting down. "You're not going anywhere. This house is ours now." Sophia's voice trembled. "You said ours?" "I did," Michael nodded, his gaze softer than ever. "If you'll let me." Ethan ran up and hugged him. Danielle followed close behind, giggling. Sophia stood still for a moment, then stepped forward and wrapped her arms around Michael from behind. "Thank you, Dad." Michael's voice quivered. "It's me who should be thanking you." The room filled with laughter, candlelight, and the quiet, powerful beginning of a life rebuilt from ruin. A week later, Michael walked into City Hall and submitted the formal paperwork to withdraw all capital from the Starlight project. Henry, now resigned from his position as the mayor's aide, greeted him at the entrance. "Mayor Lawrence has been suspended. A full investigation is underway." Michael nodded. "I'm not celebrating. But I do feel relieved." Henry whispered, "Someone had to die for you to wake up. Don't let that be for nothing." "I won't." In Michael's office, the leather wallet Sophia had once taken now sat in a glass case on the bookshelf, between multimillion-dollar contracts and financial accolades. It was no longer a stolen item but something he had needed to lose, in order to find himself again. No one is born cruel, but indifference nurtured by power and wealth can kill the humanity within us. Michael Walker was once the embodiment of ruthlessness, but the death of a child and the unyielding gaze of a girl named Sophia awakened a conscience he had buried for years. This story reminds us, no matter how dark the past may be, anyone can change if they're willing to bow their head, look back, and act for those without power. Compassion is the truest form of redemption.
If you enjoyed this story, we invite you to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support motivates us to keep bringing heartwarming stories almost every day. We are very grateful for your support. See you soon.